Hello, everyone. My name is Denise Marsh, and I am thrilled to be here at the Seven Figure Online CEO Virtual Summit. And today we are diving into a topic that I truly believe has the power to transform your life, and that is self friendship. We are going to ditch the fluff and the cliches and talk about what it really means to be your own best friend and how this really does impact every area of your life. Now, at certain points in this recorded talk, I will encourage you to pause the video so that way you can do some reflection on the exercises that I will be giving you. Now, if you need to pause the video now to go ahead and grab a journal, a notebook, and a pen, go ahead and pause it, but hurry back because I am so excited to get started with you. Now, let's start with the crucial aspect, which is owning your story. Our life is a special mix of stories that have happened over the course of our years here on earth. The experiences, the challenges, the successes. But how often do you take the time to really think about all of the things that you've been through and truly appreciate the things you've been able to overcome? And I get it, life gets busy and we get into our routines and our day-to-day habits, and sometimes taking the time for yourself isn't on your high list of priority. And I'm not talking about your dates at the salon or getting your nails done or getting a massage. I'm talking about the times you really spend with yourself, deep in thought, asking yourself, what do I want? What are my desires? What am I willing to let go of that's holding me back? What am I willing to embrace to help me move forward? Our story is our own. And the more we take the time to really think about all of the things that we've been through and the things that we want to experience, the more that we're able to truly build that relationship with ourselves. Listen, part of my story that I've learned to appreciate is knowing that I was able to overcome some really challenging times. And I know that everyone has a story of something that they had to overcome, and I'm no different. For a long period of time, I suffered from major depression and anxiety. And there were times where I just felt I was deep in a pit of despair and did not know how to get out of it. And truth be told, many times I didn't even try to get out of it because I was so overwhelmed. And this was also during a time when I was a young single mom with a sweet little girl. But even having a daughter wasn't enough for me to pull myself out of this deep depression that I was in. I mean, there was a time when I just felt maybe life was better off not having me in it if it was going to continue being so miserable. I had to get to a point where I wanted to get better and I was willing to do whatever it took to make that happen. Did it happen overnight? No. I did get support. I did do the work. But I had to first be willing to do what it took to get out of that pit of despair. I had to be willing to live, and I really did want to live. And I wanted to live well. I wanted to see if my dreams could really become my reality. But that meant that I had to get to know me, and I had to face my demons. I had to come to terms with things that I was avoiding for so long. And the more that I did that, the more that I got to discover who I truly wanted to be and who I was ready to let go of. And that's what I want to talk with you about today. And so we are going to do a few exercises together. And these are exercises that you can take along with you throughout the rest of your life. You can use these at any time that you need that extra push. So if you feel that there are times when you are doing a lot of self-blaming and self-shaming, I get it. I was once there, but I'm not there any longer, and neither does anyone else. And if you're thinking to yourself, like, hey, I think I'm pretty good. I live an okay life. Things are great with business. You know, my personal life could be better. No, let's stop that. All parts of our life could feel great, but we have to understand and recognize that we are in control of our own happiness. And think about the relationships that you have with other people, your friends, your family. You put a lot of time and energy into making sure those relationships are just beautiful. You put time and energy into letting those people know that they can depend on you, that you love them, that you want to encourage them. What if you took all of that and turned it inward? What if you took all of that and decided to give it to yourself as well? You're still able to give to others, but we have to learn how to give to ourselves without the guilt. As a transformative mental self-discovery journey that you each get to be a part of, you have to ask yourself, what is it that I want and how am I able to give it to myself? How am I able to be a better friend to myself? How am I able to cultivate a life that feels good for me? How am I able to take this one life that I know of on this earth and make it the best? It takes some getting real with yourself. And so let's start with an exercise, okay? And this exercise that I want to start with is a timeline of triumphs. So make sure you have your journal with you. All right, I'm going to go over the exercise and it's pretty simple. And you can either jot it down right now and come back to it later, or you can pause this video once I give you the exercise and take some time right now to work on it. So, the timeline of triumphs. This is going to be a time for you to reflect on all of the triumphs in your life, big and small. And these are the things that have shaped your life and shaped who you are today. These are parts of your story. You want to think about the challenges that you have been able to overcome and the strengths that you were able to exhibit by actually going through those experiences. This is another way to discover more about yourself. So you can either pause right now, take some time to reflect on that timeline of triumphs, or you can come back to it later. But just make it a point to do this. It may not seem that it will make a big impact, but it will. And ask yourself this question: when was the last time you actually sat down and wrote down all of the triumphs throughout your life? Has it been a minute? Have you ever done it? Now is the time. Remember, we are on a journey of being our own best friend. Think about all of the things that you would do for your friends and the family members that you spend time with and you enjoy loving on. Again, if you gave even just an ounce of that to yourself, how much better would your life be? How much more successful would you feel? Not just in business, but in your personal life. How much stronger would your relationships be with others because the relationship with yourself is so much stronger? How much more confident would you feel? When we lack self-confidence and we are having self-doubt replaying in our heads so much, it really has a lot to do with the relationship that we have with ourselves. There's this misconception that a lot of the times when we are suffering or feeling a lot of despair and doubts, is because of other people. Now, that could be the case for some things, but if it is about other people, what role are you playing in that relationship with that other person? We have to be willing to take responsibility for our actions and for what we're allowing into our space. You are responsible for the energy that you allow to surround you. We can't blame other people just the same as we can't blame ourselves for things. And I mean blaming ourselves for things that we shouldn't be blaming ourselves for. Now, this next exercise I want to give you, this is something I feel is so beautiful and can just have such a lasting and loving imprint on yourself. And that is a letter of compassion. Now, when was the last time you wrote a love letter to someone? I can recall getting those love notes when I was in grade school, and didn't they just make you feel so special? Even on Valentine's Day, if you ever got a little Valentine's with the candy and you just felt good, you felt special. Even when you get cards in the mail, someone remembers your birthday, someone sends you a sweet text message. Those words that people share with us to let us know how they feel about us, it feels good. Well, when was the last time you did that for yourself? And now a love letter to yourself and a letter of compassion, those have two different dynamics. And what we're talking about right now is a letter of compassion. Now, this letter of compassion is really a letter to your past self. And this is acknowledging the challenges that your past self had to face, and you expressing your understanding, you recognizing what you went through, and you are letting that past version of yourself know that you forgive her, that you love her, that you see her. So many times we think that the past is just the past and it has no importance to our present, but that is so far from the truth. Our past plays a role in how we show up for ourselves in the present moment. And what I like to do with my clients, we like to visit the past. I don't believe we need to stay in the past, but we do need to visit it because it really does help us get a better understanding of why we do the things we do, why we think the way we think, and how we show up for ourselves and others. It really is a great way to really get a grasp of where we are and where we're headed when we get a glimpse of what we've experienced in the past. So many things are left just shoved under the rug, but they're not gone. So what if you actually took the time to face those things? Face them head on, recognize them, acknowledge them. That is how you grow through those challenges and heal those painful wounds. By facing them head on. And a letter of compassion is expressing, hey, I understand that we went through that. I understand that that was a really challenging time. And I also understand that maybe I was not so kind to myself at that time. Maybe I was not doing the best that I could. Maybe I was doing the best that I knew how. But I want to recognize that we did go through that and we did make it through it. Is there anything else that I need to acknowledge so we can fully move on? This letter of compassion is such a key part in building that relationship with yourself. And now I am going to ask you to either pause this video and write that letter of compassion now, or fully commit to setting a date and time to give this exercise your full attention, because it will make a difference. And now don't wait too long to do this exercise, okay? Let's not wait until next week. Do this as soon as possible, within the next 24 hours. You can give yourself that time. You have time to write a letter to yourself. Just think about all the time you do have and give to others. Make some time for yourself too. Now, we keep talking about this self-friendship. And for some of you, you may have heard this term before, and for others, you may have never heard of this. And we've heard about self-love, and that is amazing too. But self-friendship, it's about building the relationship with ourselves. And one of the things about the strength of self-friendship is that it really does help us to embrace the idea of being our own best friend, so we can rewrite our past, or how we perceive the past, and how we experience the present, and how we envision the future. I want you to take a moment right now and think about your future. Just take a moment. You don't even need to pause the video. Just take a moment right now and think about your future. Think about what that looks like. When you think about the future, what feelings are coming up for you? Is it filled with excitement? Is it filled with anxiety? Is it filled with giddiness and joy? Is it filled with worry and despair? What's coming up for you? What's the first thing you thought of? Did you think of your business? Did you think of your family? Did you think of things you want to achieve? Did you think of travel? What did you think of? Being our own best friend helps us to perceive ourselves and our life in such a different tone than us not looking at the relationship that we have with ourselves. Also, this helps us to live more fully in the present. Now, I know every single one of you know about living in the moment. You've heard about being present. But how often are you really in the moment? How often are you giving your undivided attention to the moment? Now, here's the thing. So many people, especially a lot of female entrepreneurs, have taken on this badge of honor of being multitaskers. Now, I just want to stress right here, multitasking is absolutely not being in the moment. And now there are times when you have to do a lot of things. You got a lot of moving pieces, you got business going, you have family, you have all these other responsibilities, and you have to juggle some things. I get it. I'm not knocking that, I'm not shaming it. I'm talking about when you have to be in the moment to become more present with yourself. A lot of the times when we have stress and worry, it's about things that have already happened in the past or things that we think could happen in the future. Rarely is the moment that stressful. Now, you may have things happening that you have to figure out, and that can cause some stress and overwhelm. But the moment that you get very quiet and still, you can find a sense of calm. You can find a sense of peace. Think about a time when your friend reached out to you and they were just consumed with worry and they were stressed out about something. What did you do? What did you say to them? How did you get them to calm down? Did you ask them to take a deep breath? Did you ask them to slow down so you can hear what they were saying? What did you do to calm that friend? You can see where I'm going with this, right? You can do the exact same thing for yourself. Being in the moment with yourself helps you to gain more clarity around what's going on in your life and what you're able to do about it. Now listen, our mindset is a powerful thing. When I first started my company, Redesign and Align from Within, also known as RAW, it was all about helping women learn how to put themselves first without the guilt, learn how to love themselves on all levels, and also how to bring their dreams to reality. And now, here's the thing. A lot of people think it's just like self-help, but it goes deeper than that. It's all about our mindset and really being guided by our spirit, what we want the most out of our life. And so here I am asking you, what do you want the most out of your life? And it has to be bigger than a successful business and money. It has to go deeper. What is it that you want the most? And I want you to take a time out. Think about that. Go ahead and pause this video if you need to and just jot down a few things. Set a timer for about 30 seconds. Come back to this video and let's talk more about it. Let's talk about what this looks like. Now that you've had time to really reflect on that, I want us to talk about shaping a compelling future. Now, when we come to the future, a future you have the power to shape, okay? Now, I get it. We don't have control over everything, but we do have control over some things. By recognizing and appreciating your past and living fully in the present, we are able to gain more clarity and strength needed to craft a compelling future. That sounds pretty darn good. You know, we can come up with all of the what ifs, and sometimes we may steer towards the negative what ifs. Well, if you're going to play the psychic game anyway, then why not think about the good what ifs? But that requires you to really be in a good space, to be clear on what you want. Learn how to be more present with yourself, and also how to appreciate your past. And I get it. There's probably so many things in our past that we would rather forget about and we wish never happened. But when we're able to really build that relationship with ourselves, revisit the past, and have a new perspective on it, it really does help us to move forward in our lives with more joy, with more ease, and with more peace. And we also feel more fulfilled. What other way is there to live than a fulfilled life? And you do have a lot of control over making that happen. So I'm going to give you one of my favorite practices to do. Now, you are definitely going to want to write this down. And this is something really fun. Now, have you ever heard of an unplugged retreat? If yes, great. If no, don't worry about it. I'm going to tell you all about it right now. An unplugged retreat is something you can do when you feel you need it the most. And I like to call it an unplugged retreat, and you can give it a different name if that's not feeling good for you. Now, an unplugged retreat is when you are actually unplugged from technology and a lot of times from people. Now, with this unplugged retreat, you can do this at home or you can do this far away from home. You can do this for just one day, you can do it for a weekend, or you can do it for an extended period of time. But the purpose of this is to get that time, that quality time with yourself. And now, when I say that, it almost sounds silly when you think quality time with myself. Well, I'm with myself 24/7. Yes, you are with yourself 24/7. But how much of that time is really spent on you? You thinking about you. You focusing on your needs, your desires. You facing some things that need to be faced. You forgiving parts of you that need to be forgiven. How many times are you actually focused on yourself and not just what you got to do for everyone else? So an unplugged retreat is the perfect time and opportunity to really take that energy and put it on you. Now, you get to decide what this unplugged retreat will look and feel like based on your needs. So I'll give you an example because I do this every single month. So there are times when I do an unplugged retreat at home and I will do it for a day or a weekend, and I will unplug from social media, and just so I may not be tempted, I will actually uninstall my Facebook and my Instagram app. No biggie. Now, for some of you that may seem really hard, and if you're thinking to yourself, well, Denise, most of my business is run on social media. If you can't take time away from your business for at least 2 days, that's a different discussion we need to have. But seriously, taking time away from your business, taking time away from social media, taking time away from everyone else, and just focusing on you is a game changer. Now, if this feels too big for you, just start with a day. And if a day feels too big for you, start with half of a day. And you'll see the impact that it has. But make it fun for yourself. Plan something or don't plan anything. There are times when I have unplugged retreats and I have nothing planned. I just see what the day is going to bring for me. And then there are times when I do have things planned. I may want to work on a puzzle, do some coloring. I may want to catch up on a book, or I may want to go somewhere. Also, there are times when I do an unplugged retreat with a friend. And so I let them know, like, hey, I'm unplugging and I want to spend some time with you. Will you unplug with me? And it is amazing. It's so, oh my gosh, I cannot even express all of the benefits that it has, but it is a game changer. Again, if this feels too big, ask yourself, why does this feel so big for me to spend time with myself? What's the deeper challenge here? What is this really about? Now, I want to give you a journaling exercise, and we're going to actually do a journaling break. So I am going to encourage you to pause the video after I give you the journaling prompt. And this is something that you can come back to time and time again. Most journaling prompts are not just a one-off. They're usually something that you can do at other times, because different times of our lives are going to give us different results and different answers to the same question. So I want you to go ahead and grab your journal, grab your pen, and I'm going to give you the journaling prompt. And then I'm going to ask you to pause the video so that way you can go ahead and answer that journaling prompt. So here it is. Can you recall a specific moment in your life when you took a leap of faith or embraced a major change, even though it felt uncomfortable or uncertain? What did you learn about yourself from that experience, and how did it shape your path forward? That's the journaling prompt. I'll repeat it for you just in case you didn't get it all when you were writing. Can you recall a specific moment in your life when you took a leap of faith or embraced a major change, even though it felt uncomfortable or uncertain? What did you learn about yourself from that experience, and how did it shape your path forward? Now that you have had the opportunity to pause the video and reflect on that journaling prompt, or even if you decided not to pause at this time and do it later, I'm going to encourage you to make sure you make it a priority to do that journaling prompt and go back to it as often as you need to. And now, as we conclude the exploration of owning your story and becoming your best friend, I want to say thank you and also encourage you to carry these exercises and these tips with you after this session is over. These are simple things that you can add into your daily routine that will make a huge impact on the relationship that you have with yourself. Remember, it's your story, and you have the pen to write the next chapter. No one else, just you. This is your story to create, and I know that you want it to be the best story ever. Why wouldn't you want it to be, right? So now I would love to invite you to connect with me because I would love for you to get to know me more and for me to get to start to know you. So I do have a complimentary weekly newsletter, and you can find the link to that in my information where you can sign up for it. And in those newsletters, I share more tips and more exercises on being your own best friend, putting yourself first without the guilt, learning how to like and love yourself on all levels, and also sharing things that I have going on as far as special offers and opportunities to work with me. I also would love to invite you to get on a love chat with me. And a love chat is a complimentary 30-minute call that we would do to see if there's something that I can do to support you. And I do have two ways to work with me right now. I have an upcoming retreat in December of this year. It's December 8th through the 10th, and it's a weekend retreat in Orlando, Florida. And there we're going to dive super deep into building up that trust and confidence within ourselves, learning how to be our own true best friend, to cultivate relationships with ourselves and with others so we are able to live with better boundaries and have more fulfillment and purpose in our lives. I would love to invite you to that. It's going to be a very intimate setting with only 5 women present. Now, if that's something that you want to do, maybe we can talk about that. I also have another opportunity to work with me. I do have private mindset mentoring sessions that you can invest in. There's a 10 call package and a 15 call package. And with those, you're able to use them with flexibility that works with your schedule and with mine, so that way we can work together one-on-one. Now, if you're interested in both, we can talk about that as well. Now, I do have other retreats coming up in 2024. I have some coming up in Florida as well as internationally. So the best way to stay abreast on all the things they have going on is to sign up for my newsletter and also get on a call with me. I would love to talk with you and get to know you. Thank you so much for taking this time with me and for hearing me out on what it means to really become your true best friend that will help to enhance your life in so many incredible ways, not just professionally, but personally as well. This is your life. You get one of them. You get to choose how you want to live it. Thank you so much, and I hope to connect with you soon. P.S. I wanted to share with you another supportive tool that I have for you. This is my book, Do It For Yourselfie. And this book goes diving deep into all things selfie. So self-worth, self-love, self-confidence. And in this, I give you a non-sugar-coated guide to what these words really mean, how we're able to grow through them and enhance them in our lives, and also how we're able to forgive and let go of the ones that are just keeping us feeling stuck. So you can grab a copy of Do It For Yourselfie from my website, denisemarsh.net, and get a signed copy from me. Or you can also visit any of your favorite online retailers, such as Target.com, Amazon.com, Booksamillion.com, or any other online retailer, and grab the book for yourself. Thank you again, and don't forget to do it for yourselfie.